Today we're going to be talking about how your anxiety is dumb as shit. It's a very weird title, but I think this is a very important thing I was kind of stumbling across when in a conversation with someone yesterday. Um, I've struggled with anxiety my whole life, and I hate to be one of those like, ugh, I so struggled with this my whole life. I technically have OCD and I have anxiety and I have a mild form of this. Like, no, I'm not here for like a necessarily a pity party, but I've struggled with the concept of anxiety. So like in many different forms, the concept of what anxiety is, I've struggled with my whole life. And there was one question I always asked myself with this, which was, hey, I struggle with anxiety because I'm afraid bad things will happen, and specific bad things will happen. Now, when I grew up, I was afraid. Oh, if I step on this part of the sidewalk, my family will die. Like I had these very weird if-then statements inside my mind relating to anxiety. But the funniest part is, as I started to grow and get through life, actually live a little bit, I realized that a lot of bad things did happen to me, you know? But these bad things were never predicted by the anxiety. The anxiety would threaten me with, oh, this is going to happen or that is going to happen, and none of it ever happened. But on the flip side, bad things did happen. But when those bad things happen, for example, I lost a childhood friend to suicide, right? I think about the day when I realized that happened. When I figured that happened, it was in 2019 February, and nothing felt different that day. My anxiety didn't warn me. My anxiety didn't threaten me, and this realization helped me realize something that confused me, which is, if anxiety is purpose is to warn me about things, why has it never been right about the things that were going to happen and never been able to warn me about the actual bad things that did happen? You had one job. You've been stressing me out. It's like insurance. It's like if you buy insurance, right? And they're supposed to cover the cost of a big tragedy, and then the big tragedy finally happens and they don't cover it. What's the point of the insurance? And anxiety is like mental insurance. If we think about this situation enough, we will be protected when it actually happens, or we will be prepared when it actually happens. But I'm figuring out that anxiety is a terrible insurance company. And in that, I was thinking, well, this doesn't make sense because I've been convinced that anxiety is my insurance company my whole life. And it's not ever been able to pull through for me when I needed it and make me prepared for the things that were about to happen. I've never been prepared for these bad things, and it's never been able to accurately predict them. And in this, I realized kind of the relationship and the true narrowness of anxiety and what it is. And why anxiety has been affecting me so much as a person. And it's in a diagram I'll draw on this piece of paper, and I'll show you. But I'm just going to draw a circle here, and you're going to see this diagram soon. We are inside of this big circle. I'm just going to... Okay. This is us, right? That's us, little stick figure. And that circle or oval, whatever you want to call it, is reality. Reality is huge. We're just, living in reality, right? Now, within reality, we have a perception of reality, which is a little bit smaller than what reality actually is. So that mini circle is perception. Basically, this is what we perceive as reality. Reality is much bigger than what we perceive. With the human brain, we cannot comprehend every aspect of reality if we tried. And then within that, there is anxiety. And I would define anxiety as this. It's this little rectangle within reality. And it might even be smaller than what I put. But anxiety is this box within reality. And it's not the entire reality. It's not our entire perception. If we let go of anxiety, we get more perception, right? But even the perception that we have is not the whole of reality, which is much bigger than what we create. So what anxiety does is it'll warn you about specific things within a specific perception of your awareness or your ego or whatever it is, but it's not going to cover the full perception of your human experience, and even so, it's not going to even if it covered the full perception of your human experience, it would never be able to cover reality. Point being, shit's just bigger than us. You know, shit is just bigger than us. Whether, we want to admit it or not, like, I think there's a very self-deterministic, like, center of the world type of American culture of like, hey, we can will anything into existence if we try. And I think that's an amazing concept because people severely, underestimate the impact of your true perception. Even with you at max understanding, oh, I'm perceptive to this level, you can achieve a lot. But even you at your max is just a human in the river of the reality. Reality will flow in certain ways, and that will benefit and hurt you. And what I think a lot of anxiety is it's the negative impact of believing that this is the center of the universe. Because what anxiety convinces you of is you can do anything, which sounds like a great belief. You can do anything, you can will anything into existence. But with that great power comes great responsibility, which is you can will negative things into existence as well. And that is why anxiety is so powerful, because anxiety believes you're powerful. But anxiety convinces you that this box right here this is reality. This box right here. When we know that this box is just a segment of perception, and perception is a segment of reality. But anxiety will convince you that anything is possible, anything can happen, and you can will anything into existence. And the more you believe you have power, the more anxiety you're going to have, because that means everything's on you. And that means everything is your fault, everything is your doing, and they're not extra advantages that reality has given you. So understanding anxiety, for me, has been understanding, hey, anxiety can only warn me about a small box within my actual perception and does not warn me about a lot of things that happen. It actually is rarely right. It just warns me about a little bit inside my perception and acts like it warns me about everything. But the problem is there are a lot of problems that happen that anxiety can't warn us about. So it's ultimately kind of dumb as shit, is my point. It doesn't actually warn us about the important things, and it just stresses us out all the time. And second of all, we are not in control of everything. Some things are not in our control, and some things, reality has a bigger plan. The way reality is not like a luck or an unlucky thing. We're not unlucky or lucky. It's just a river, and the river will flow west sometimes. The river will flow east sometimes. And we can take advantage of the way the river flows. But reality is much bigger than our doing, even at our best. And that sounds like a very scary situation, right? I think eventually the tides can turn in all these areas. But when it comes to a specific moment, reality is bigger than us, and reality will make more decisions than us. Point I'm trying to say here, though, is I kind of forgot it, but I'm gonna get back into it. Is this is not entirely in our control, and anxiety, like whatever's willed and meant for us, or whatever the tide is going to be the tide. But what people don't understand is the tide reality is not something that hates you. The universe is not something that hates you. It just moves in directions, and you can take advantage of those directions. And I'm forgetting my point again, but just bear with me. I got this. But yeah, reality is, I'm just going to sit. I'm going to sit and think. I'm going to sit and think instead of trying to talk with my point. Oh yeah, reality can work in your favor. Like sometimes, like reality can work in your favor. And like it's kind of a thing of like, no matter how much you fail, you're destined to succeed. And no matter how much you succeed, you're destined to fail at a certain point in time. It's a river, right? So rivers can flow this way, flow that way, change the course of their flow, and that's important. But when a river is flowing a certain way, even if you're not moving as fast, the river will push you farther. And if the river is flowing against you, even if you're moving twice as fast, the river will limit you. But we have human power over time, But we are not in charge of specific moments. But the human experience and what makes humans powerful is time. we have time by our side. We can continue going and sit here and be screwed over because reality is bigger than us. But we have the faith to wait and keep working until reality eventually turns its tide, and then we move. But that's kind of what it is. So anxiety tries to perfect every single moment in time, which is not possible. Whether we tried, whether we thought about it all day, anxiety cannot do that. That is not something that we are capable of. We cannot change the will of specific situations, no matter how hard we try, no matter how smart we are, no matter how much we think. However, we can change things with time. That is the human advantage, that is the human power, and that is the human experience. So anxiety, all it does is it prepares you of a box within a box of what you think reality is, and acts like it's reality. But that prevents you from expanding outside of that box to find true perception, even expanding beside or behind your own perception to find true reality. But I hope that made sense. All I'm trying to say here is anxiety doesn't help you. It doesn't warn you about half the shit that's going on if you listen to it all day. It's dumb as shit, but it gaslights you into thinking it's Einstein. It's not. It's dumb. It's just one limited perspective within your limited perspective that is within reality. So a lot of shit's happening behind the scenes that you and your brain probably could never comprehend. And yeah, that's what I wanted to say.